Good morning and welcome to everyone. We're going to take a few minutes this morning, the mayor and I, and kind of highlight some of the things going on in the town the last year and some of the things we have projected for 2023. So we're glad you're here today, and I'll turn it over to you, Mayor.
Great, thank you so much. I'm so glad to see everybody this morning. When we go back over the things that we're going to talk about today, it's amazing how much we get done in a year's time. I know sometimes we feel like in government things move really slow, and there are things that we wish would move a little bit faster, but for the most part, in a year's time, it's amazing what our departments and our employees get done, and we appreciate all they do. I do want to introduce a few people this morning. We have John Black with the airport that's here, and Andrew Steffens, I think, is not here yet, but will be here shortly. And Paul Latour and Patrick Kamak with the Chamber. Thank you all for being here. I saw Phil Wilson with our County Commission. Good morning. And Mike Sparks, our state representative. Thank y'all for being here as well. You know, one of the things we learned a long time ago is we can't do this alone. It is definitely a team effort, and a team effort outside of the city limits of the town of Smyrna, whether that's through the County Commission or the state or the federal government. And we appreciate all of the help you all provide us in moving Smyrna forward. So thank you for all you do. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all of the directors that are here. I'm not going to call you out and make you stand up individually, but you all do a great job day in and day out, and we appreciate all that you do to make us as a town council look good. You all are the ones that have the tough job, and we appreciate you. And Brian, I think you're ready to start a little bit on the project update?
Absolutely. And before we do that, it would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to our mayor and our council. Several of our council members are here with us this morning for the support that you give us on our day-to-day operations here at the town. And then secondly, I would like to, we mentioned already, the directors. You know, so much happens in this town, and so many things are going on. Sometimes we forget to thank those unsung heroes, and that's our employees. You know, I think about our employees that are out there on holidays. You know, it's easy to remember our police and fire department because they do such a great job. But then also our parks and rec, our golf department, our wastewater, and our water department. Those folks work 24/7, 365 days a year, and they make things happen for this town. And then there's other folks like our dispatchers. You know, sometimes we forget about them. They're great assets to the town. They're that voice on the end of the phone a lot of times in moments of despair. So I just want to say thank you to all our employees for the work you do and how you make the town of Smyrna really shine. I want to start with a couple of updates that I think people will be interested in. One is our Jefferson Pike project. It started in March of 2021 and it's scheduled to be completed July 2024. Total cost of that project was a little over $61 million. And there'll be traffic signals placed at Nissan and San Ripley, Hickory Grove, and then at I-84 at the Rams. The first bridge, all the concrete has been poured, and about 75% of the field work has already been done on the project. So we're excited about where that project is at this time. Another project that I'm really proud of, and Kevin Rigsby, I apologize, Kevin. Kevin Rigsby has been leading the charge on this project for us, and that's a connector road between Rocky Fork over to McEwen. And the town initiated the study with Rutherford County, Knowles, Franklin, Brentwood, and Williamson County to establish a route to connect Interstate 24 and Enos Springs Road all the way across to Interstate 65 and McEwen Drive. We're really excited about this. We're probably 60 days away from final plan that we can take to TDOT and to the MPO and get that thoroughfare earmarked for us.
Brian, I think this is a perfect example of talking about working outside of the city limits and working with other jurisdictions that's going to benefit all of us. And but for the citizens that might not understand, if you don't get that drawn on the map, what's going to happen with all the development we're having here in Middle Tennessee? Something's going to be built between here and there.
Well, if you think about it, San Ripley Parkway would have probably been the natural design of that road. That's exactly what happened. We had several developments that came up in the counties, and now they've blocked that route. So what we're trying to do is protect that through a thoroughfare, and getting it on TDOT's maps, getting it on the MPO maps, and getting everybody to come together it's a pretty big task.
Absolutely.
But it's actually working and working well. One other thing that's coming up that I'm very proud of, and something that I'm excited for the community, is we have an emergency operations community center that's in the early stages, that's going to be out at 840 and Jefferson Pike. The Hollingshead family and their development donated 2 acres to the town, and we're in the process right now working with TM Partners to do the architectural design. And I think this week at our planning committee, it's coming in for annexation, and we'll be moving forward with that project. So we'll have some emergency services available on that end of our town. So we're very excited about that. A couple other things just wanted to mention. You know, after the pandemic, we came out of the pandemic, and I felt like we shut everything down, including the offices, for a while. We're starting to get back and do some of the projects, do some of the things I think that the community enjoys. One of them is our Christmas lighting ceremony. That's coming up here in just a month and a half or so, just before Thanksgiving. Got some big news about that this year. One of the things we've done is we've re-looked at our Christmas lighting, and over the years, some of our stuff has gotten a little bit tired. It's been out there for about 20 years, and people may not realize it takes us about 30 days to decorate the town, and then many people ride through the town and don't even recognize the decorations. So we really put some time and effort into that this year, and we're going to focus on our downtown part with as much emphasis as we're putting on Lowry Street, the Depot District. Make sure you pay attention and look at what's coming. There'll be some really nice stuff done in the Depot District, and we'll do our lighting ceremony this year in the Depot District. We're excited about that. And not far behind here after this, we've got our Volunteer of the Year banquet with our Smyrna Parks and Recreation. So that's coming up. I think the nominations are already out there for those positions. Then keep in mind, on 4th of July, we had one of our best 4th of July's. Chief, I don't know how you keep squeezing more and more fireworks for the same budget, but somehow you do, and we do appreciate it. And I think we estimated a little over 10,000 people in the park for our fireworks this year. Mayor's going to talk about some exciting things about the park here in a few minutes that will help us with 4th of July. Simply Smyrna, Depot Days, and then one thing we're real proud of is this year we were able to bring back our Fire and Police Youth Academy. That's something that so many people take advantage of. And I will tell you, you know, this past Friday we had a retirement party for our police chief of police who was leaving us, and I had 2 people come up to me and say, "We knew the chief when we went through the academy, and now they're adults making a living and leading their lives and you know, their families. But they remember all the way back 20 plus years ago going through that academy, and it meant a lot to them. So we're very proud of that."
I want to talk a little bit about challenges or opportunities, as we like to call them. And there's a team that I work with twice a month. We actually do a lot more during the month, but we have 2 formal meetings, and that's our town council. Our Vice Mayor, Mark Adkins, Councilwoman Raquel Peebles, Councilman Steve Sullivan, Councilman Tim Morrell, Councilman H.G. Cole, and Councilman Jerry Short. And there's no way we could do what we do without these individuals. And each one of us love the town of Smyrna and love making sure that we're moving the town of Smyrna forward and hopefully getting to put a little bit of a spin of what we want to see the town look like in years to come. So thank you to each one of you for what you do for our community. But talking about the opportunities and challenges we have over this past year, the COVID-19 pandemic, I think we've all suffered through that and are coming out of that. But our HR department handled 225 cases of COVID-19 related issues, and if an employee tested positive or was exposed, our HR department advised them on protocol. And I think you all are well aware that that changed all the time. It seemed like every day something was different, and I think they handled it gracefully and in the best interest of our employees. With growth in the town of Smyrna over the past year, we had 502 new businesses that were opened. 12 annexation requests reviewed, 26 rezoning requests reviewed, 45 subdivision plats, and 51 site plans reviewed. So we were a little bit busy in the planning department. Supply chain issues. I think any industry any one of us are in, we're experiencing supply chain issues. And to give you a little bit of the examples of what we're having to deal with in our public works and engineering department. Our contractors have had issues with the PVC conduit and pull boxes for street lights and traffic signals. Orders for concrete have to be placed weeks in advance. Concrete pipe and stormwater boxes, new parts to fix town equipment. All of these are issues that we're having with supply chain.
Mayor, I'd like to add something to that.
Sure.
Because one of the things that I want the citizens of the community to understand when we talk about supply chain issues, it's not just the materials. We do have issues. Steve and I had a brief conversation about mask arms a little bit ago. And, mask arms used to, you could order them in a year and 3 months. So you could start a project and basically get those mask arms in time the streets will be completed. Right now, it's taking anywhere from 8 months to 12 months to get a mask arm. And unfortunately, although they're engineered and put on a drawing, until you get into the field and actually begin to do the work, you don't know what size mask arm you're going to need, because you run into issues that the engineers don't know about, that there's a stormwater over, or there's utilities in the way, those kind of things. So they shift 2, 3 feet, 4 feet. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a difference in the mask arm. So they can really not be ordered until you get to the project and begin to operate the project. But another thing is we're having issues in the supply chain, and we're seeing that on our Lowry Street project quite a bit. And I know that it's a project that's frustrated the community as much as it's frustrated us. But because of the supply chain issues, we also have employee issues. A lot of these companies cannot keep employees, or they're not having enough employees that they can hire. So just like what we're dealing with on Lowry Street right now, these companies are bidding projects. And I think what they're doing is, as soon as somebody calls and complains, they come in and work for a couple of weeks, and then they wait for somebody else to call and complain, and go there for a couple of weeks, and they're moving the folks around. It's been a real issue for us. It's an issue, I think, with most companies right now. You can't go anywhere in town, anywhere in the state that you don't see health warning signs. And it's hitting the construction departments just as much as it's hitting anything else. So please be patient. Understand we're working very diligently to keep these projects on task, but it is a chore just doing that.
Some of the other issues that we've been facing, like at our golf course, the club car beverage cart was supposed to be delivered in July, but it's currently on back order. And I think we all know how important the beverage cart is at the golf course, especially on days that some of us play, right, Mark? The pro shop inventory orders have been slow to complete, taking 4 to 6 months to be delivered, and the range ball order from May of 21 is still not available due to supply chain issues. Where's Hal? Hal, you might be able to go down in the creek for all the balls that HG and I hit that way. You might be able to pick up a few there. So, Brian, I think you're going to talk a little bit about public safety accomplishments.
Yes, I start with the fire department. The fire department has started construction on 1,500 square foot bunkhouse to be added to Fire Station 1. That project is moving along pretty well. We've hit a few supply chain issues over there, but hopefully we're back up and that project is moving forward. They're also in the process of switching over to all new software due to the software that they had no longer being supported. And I think that project has actually run very well with the help of our fire department and the staff, as well as our IT department. All the work that's been done to evaluate the new software and get it up and running. People, you don't realize when we talk about software, we're not just talking about the computer in the office. All these vehicles have computers in them. They all have to be able to communicate. So it's a pretty big undertaking. One of the other things we'll talk about is our police department. I think we've got a picture up of the Smyrna Police Department. The community services coordinator for our police department, Shirley Key, very important part of the job. Over the last 90 days, she's been working with 90 daycares to educate the staff and the teachers on how to identify and properly report child abuse in those areas. And folks, unfortunately, or sadly, that is an issue in some of the daycares. They were very cautious about what they wanted to report because there's a liability on their side, but we also have to protect those children. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some department accomplishments, and I would like to start with the finance department. I see Sierra's here with us to talk about the finance department. Rex is taking a much needed vacation, so he's not here today. But our audit, our 2022 audit is on track and should conclude with an unmodified opinion. That's the highest opinion available. They do a great job. We've had that luxury the last few years to have an unmodified audit. Also, they have spent $9.7 million through the finance department with each of our other departments on grant revenue. That's $9.7 million that was attained by the town to do projects within the community that did not cost the taxpayers money. And we appreciate how they continue to track those grants and how they continue to go out and find those grants for us. Now, Mary, I know this is one that you and I have a lot of conversation about. It's a great number for us, and that's we maintain the Standard & Poor's rating at AA+. Actually, for the town of Smyrna size, that is the highest rating that we can achieve. Mayor wants AAA+, but there's going to have to be some other things happen before we can do that. And that's growth in our community. We maintain the Moody's rating of AA1. We received the GFOA's award, a certificate for achieving excellence in financial reporting. This is the highest form of recognition and excellence in governmental accounting. It involves a 45-page checklist of requirements, and an average of only 9% of Tennessee cities receive this award. So congratulations to our finance department for continuing to do a great job. We received the Comptroller's Budgeting Compliance Award. So we submitted an FY fiscal year 22 budget within 15 days of adoption. That's almost unheard of. A lot of work has to happen to get that through the process and get it reported back up to the Comptroller's office. And an average of only 25% of the Tennessee cities receive this award. So again, great job on our finance department, and they're doing a really strong job to keep us in compliance. That's important.
Talking a little bit about our HR department, one of the questions I'm asked a lot when I'm out in the community is, how many employees do you have in the town of Smyrna? Well, we currently have right at about 493 total employees. 415 of these are full-time, 44 are part-time, and 34 are seasonal employees. One of the things we looked at over this last year is compensation for our team. How do we make sure that we are paying a fair rate? And often so many people target the market average for salaries when they're looking at jobs. And in the 2021-2022 budget year, we aggressively modified our compensation strategy to make sure all of our jobs were paid well above the market average. In fact, we adopted a strategy to place all our jobs in the top 30% or better when compared to other municipalities across the state. And what this does is this allows us as a town to attract and retain the best of the best. And we want to make sure that we are doing that for our employees as well as for our citizens. And just as a side note, nearly a fourth of our positions were already being paid at the top 25% or better compared to our peers before we modified our compensation. HR department leads our United Way employee campaign each year, and this year they raised $59,000 from the annual charity golf scramble to benefit nonprofits across Rutherford County. One of the things that our employees are great about is neighbor helping neighbor, and they know that United Way is a great organization in a way that we can funnel those monies raised to help those individuals here in the town of Smyrna. So the HR department and that team that puts on the golf scramble every year does a great job of getting that organized, and I think it's actually a really fun event that people that come out to play enjoy. Community partners. We can't do this alone, and we have to have those community partners helping us. And today, John Black with the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority is here to talk a little bit about that. John?
Thank you, Mayor.
Just hold it down
There you go. Thank you, Mayor and Brian. And as the mayor said earlier, nothing happens alone. And we really, really appreciate the partnership that we have with the Town of Smyrna. And you have a great team, and we have a great team at the airport. And I'm happy to be here this morning to tell you a little bit more about that. One of the metrics that we use to kind of measure our growth is aircraft operations. And year to date, this year in 2022, we're at 35% over 2021. That equates to about 125,000 operations a year. And operations, I mean, when an aircraft takes off, that's one. When it lands, that's two. So that equates also to about 350 operations every day, which makes Smyrna Airport the third busiest airport in the state of Tennessee. So that's pretty impressive. We've got a big growth plan. We just finished up a master plan that we are following for the next 15 to 20 years. The hangar you see here on the slide is hangar 692 that we just completed. Contour Airlines moved in literally the day after we got the CO. So we appreciate the town working with us to get all that finished up. We've faced a lot of the same challenges Brian mentioned with supply chain and employees. But it's full. There's 45 aircraft technicians working in there and supporting the airline that flies all over the country. We also extended Thunderbird Drive, which is on the east or the west side of the airport, which opens up a lot more airport property for us for development, including Stevens Aerospace, which completed a $9 million maintenance hangar, and they have plans to add an additional 40,000 square foot hangar to that facility in the upcoming year. They have employment there of 85 aircraft technicians, and all those aircraft technician jobs are extremely high paying, very, very good jobs. Hollingshead Aviation also is in the process of constructing another 60,000 square feet of storage hangars, which we need desperately on the airport, and Middle Tennessee, in fact, has a huge hangar shortage. And with hangars come aircraft that support the industry that we're all trying to get in our community. So we're excited about that. Hillwood in our industrial park finished their fourth building, and that added an additional 340,000 square feet to the airport business park. So in 2022, all those projects and a few other smaller ones, total investment into the airport in 2022 is $45 million. So it was a great year for us. TDOT just recently finished an economic impact study of airports, and Smyrna Airport has an annual economic impact of $242 million every year. So we're proud to be a part of that. We have new development area on the west side we're going to open up. We have our engineers working on the design for that, which will add another about 14 to 16 corporate type hangars. We have a high level of interest in that. And we just finished up a very successful Wings of Freedom fish fry in partnership with the Rotary Club. Appreciate all the town's help with that. It's great because a lot of that money goes right back into this community. We are also going to completely reconstruct runway 119 next year, which is the runway that you see if you're at the memorial and you're overlooking the airport. That's the runway you see. So we'll be completely reconstructing that. That's an $8 million job, and happy to announce that in 2023 we'll be having the Great Tennessee Air Show back on June 10th and 11th, featuring the United States Navy Blue Angels in the picture there. So thank you again for having me, and we're proud to be your partner.
Thanks, John. Ron, I think you're going to talk a little bit about Treasury now.
According to the script.
According to the script. And we follow the script. We do what we're told.
Casey told me if I didn't follow the scriptures, that he was going to crush it, so I'm following the script.
There you go.
So I want to talk about the Treasury. It's an area that's very important to the town, and it's important to our community. This is where you pay your utility bills, and you collect business tax, and those kind of things. So the Treasury Department's been very busy. We serviced over 43,000 customers in person this year. We answered 24,178 phone calls. I don't know how to count those. I wonder if they've got a little clicker over there. But, I'm pretty sure it's 24,170. Processed 55,932 utility payments in-house. That's where people will bring the payments in. Processed 9,369 miscellaneous payments, Those are payments like building permits, electrical permits, and those kind of things. Again, Treasury collects all money for the town. They accepted 502 applications for new businesses. That's new businesses coming into the town of Smyrna. That could be everything from new commercial restaurants, all the way down to someone that maybe is doing business out of their home, but they have to have a business license to operate. They renewed 2,208 business licenses, so you can tell in that department they've been pretty busy, and we appreciate what they're doing. Next, I want to talk about IT department. IT has been very busy. In August of this year, the Information Services team completed an infrastructure upgrade project. This project replaced many old and outdated technologies, including the replacement of our data center computing and storage systems. So all the information that comes in is processed through the town and stored. They used a new hyper-converged architecture. This replacement and upgrade of the data center core network and the implementation of the new backup and recovery system has several benefits, to include administration and automation of updates and tested and verified software and hardware components. So now we don't have to wait for somebody to send us an email saying we need an update. Those are being done automatically for us and keeping us up to date. Multi-site failover and redundancy, that's one of the things the town has looked at very hard. The redundancy in our system right now is located next to where we actually store the original information, and we are looking at a redundancy and moving, when we talk about the new fire and safety building now in Jefferson Pike, that may be a site for us to be able to put some redundancy, so that if we have an issue with one of the departments or one of the buildings, that we have a backup system out there.
Well, and so many people think redundancy means a negative, and in this case, it's not.
This is a positive.
Right.
This is just in case a tornado, flood, fire, or something like that were to take out some of our equipment, we would not be completely down. We could go to that redundant site and pick up and continue to move. It's to improve speed and performance and increase the data protection. That's one of the things that Mr. Wilson's been very high on, is making sure that the town is not a target for some of these folks out there trying to get into the systems and stuff. And, I'm not an IT person. I think the spreadsheet is a little bad, but it's quite interesting to listen. And we actually are detecting folks from overseas, different places that are trying to get into our system. And I know a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, one of our sister cities here close, actually their water department was taking ransom and were being held hostage of all things for their information. So we're doing a great job of keeping that from happening, and we appreciate our IT department. One of the things that they did, and this is very important and shows the dedication, all this work that was being done was done after hours, make sure not to interrupt day-to-day services. So appreciate the extra hours and the overtime that these folks put in to make this happen and make it very good for us.
Talk a little bit about Public Works and the Intelligent Transportation System, or ITS project, which we've heard about for quite a few years now, which is going to connect all of our traffic signals throughout the town to a central traffic operations center. And this is going to allow a traffic operator to adjust signal timing during times of heavy traffic flow and help to reduce backups at intersections. Also, it's going to help us to diagnose and fix traffic signal problems more quickly. Phase 1 and 2 of the project are complete, and it has integrated 38 traffic signals and 9 video cameras in our traffic operations center. The town, through our Public Works Department, has applied for and obtained grants from Transportation Alternatives Programs, CRISA, and Multimodal Access Grants. Those grants totaled over $2.6 million, and we appreciate the hard work in going after those grants. These grants are utilized for upgrades of sidewalks along Old Nashville Highway and Eden Springs Road, as well as installing new sidewalks along Lowry Street. That's an emphasis we have put on here in the last couple of years in the town of Smyrna, because so many people here within the town aren't lucky enough to have access to transportation, and they do have to walk to get places. And we want to make sure that walkability is not just for exercise here in the town, but it can help people get place to place, whether it's to their job or for shopping or for food. So Public Works organized our 14th annual Boat Day event, which we had over 370 attendees participating in kayaking, canoeing, and educational outreach. They do a great job, and it's a really fun event for the citizens. Let's talk a little bit about Parks and Recreation. Our Lee Victory Tennis Court improvements. The Parks Department will renovate the existing tennis courts at Lee Victory Recreation Park, and this will involve repaving and color resurfacing for the 6 courts, and it should be completed about spring of '23. Our Freedom Playground restrooms. This is a project that was started mostly in-house. The restrooms adjacent to the playground. That was a partnership between Christy Houston, the town, and the Rotary Club. And this is going to allow access and be ADA compliant. And it's also going to have adult changing tables, which a lot of us don't think about if you're not in that situation. So many children, once they become bigger, they're not able to fit on a child's changing table anymore. And so parents have to have access to be able to change those children when they're at. So that's what we'll have a separate room in this restroom. Our Cedar Stone tennis and pickleball courts, our park staff continues to follow the TDEC grant process for the Cedar Stone tennis and pickleball courts. The first step is to secure a contract with the state of Tennessee. Fortunately, the design portion of the project is almost complete, and the completion date is dependent on state approval. So we're not going to throw a date out there yet. Various projects listed on the screen throughout will take place throughout the fall of 2022 and the spring of 2023. Our Sharp Springs parking lot and the EA Victory shelter. Rotary Soccer Park walking trail, Greenway from Weekly Lane to Stewart's Creek boat ramp, which is about 1.26 miles, the Hilltop Rosenwall walking trail, and the Paul Johns Neighborhood Park parking lot. So these are the projects, our paving projects that'll take place over the next couple of months. Our Parks Department will work with our contractors to determine which one of these will take place first based on need. Brian, I think you're going to talk a little bit about building safety.
We issued 488 permits for new construction, 1,714 electrical permits for new construction. We performed over 8,900 building inspections and 5,066 electrical inspections. Concluded expansions of the service online, including our services online, to allow for building and electrical permits and plan review to be done online and not force the customer to come into the office. And that's a nice addition to our arsenal to help our builders and contractors get their jobs done.
I think that's one of the things that the pandemic did was it made us start doing some things online that we hadn't been doing in the past. And so I think have been some good things that have come out of the pandemic. In our planning department, we completed and adopted our comprehensive plan. We reviewed draft updates for the FEMA flood maps with the expected adoption of the new maps in 2023.
At this time, I'd like to call on one of our other community partners, and that's our friend Paul Latour, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I think Patrick K-Max, the senior vice president of economic development, gives that.
Good morning, Buckle. Well, good morning. Thank you for having me. Mayor, we've got to get a beverage card. That's the
Absolutely.
one. We've got to do that.
Do you think we need to have that on a daily basis?
Yes, absolutely. All kidding aside, thank you for allowing us to be here today. The Town of Smyrna is a great partner. We talk about collaboration. We talk about everything that we're doing. It makes our job easier in selling the community to the rest of the world, frankly. Before I introduce Patrick, I want to just talk a little bit about tourism. Tourism is absolutely blossoming here in Rutherford County, and I'm going to talk just to give you a few numbers. Last year, our economic impact for Rutherford County was $634 million, and that's a 34% increase over the previous year. In fact, we actually Rutherford County ranked 7 out of 95 counties and represents 4,500 jobs in the hospitality industry here in our community. In August alone, just want to let you know the STR report, STAR report, that occupancy for hotels was up 4.9%, and the average daily rate is up as well. This also talks about a year-to-date countywide demand is up 11.7%, which really represents 90,000 additional hotel rooms in here in Rutherford County. So everything that you guys talked about with the events that you have certainly lead to the tourism opportunities, and the cultural and heritage tourism is also very important. And the neat things that are here to do today, in our community and the town of Smyrna in particular, is really very much a positive. And hotel growth will continue in our community, and hospitality will continue to grow. So I'll turn it over to Patrick to talk about a few things as it relates to just kind of the industrial and economic development side. And again, thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thanks, Paul. I just wanted to add a couple of notes. We feel very lucky to be partnering with Smyrna, and Brian talked about, and the mayor talked about how they, always have a very business-friendly approach, making sure that they're doing what they can as administration to make sure that we can continue to attract the jobs here and the development that leads to more property taxes and just a better economy. And so because of that effort, because of the community that we're in, we have now in process 1.6 million square feet of industrial speculative buildings happening right now that are going to be coming online in the next year or two. And so that represents 11 buildings throughout the town of Smyrna. And so we're very appreciative of that. It's because we are currently working a lot of projects that are looking at those buildings. And so right now we have about 7 projects that are actively visiting the community, talking to us, looking at our community versus other communities around the country. And so we hope to land some of those, as many as we can, to get the hundreds of jobs that they represent. And so I think it is a very tight labor market, but we are doing what we can at the chamber with workforce development. And our head there, Greg Jones, is doing a great job, and he likes to talk about the labor participation rate for Rutherford County is 74%. And so that means that 74% of the people who are able to work here work. That compares to 62% throughout the state and 63% throughout the country. And so we are much higher of participation in the labor force, which really helps in those potential businesses really like. So thank you again for the partnership, and we will continue to work for you guys.
Thank you, Patrick, and Paul. We have a great relationship, and we appreciate the work you guys do. Talk a little bit about our utilities department now. Jefferson Pike, as we know, the road is being constructed, and with that comes the utilities that will be moved out all the way out to 840, which will just open up a lot of new development possibilities. The water and sewer installation is currently under construction, and the gas construction, the pipeline on the gas, will begin shortly. I happened to be riding by there this weekend, and I saw a stack of gas pipe that was delivered to the site. The water line will be upgraded within the project to meet the projected future demand for fire flow requirements. Sewer, a new installation, and consists of a mix of lift stations, force mains, and gravity flow will be installed. Gas is also a new installation and will include high-pressure gas mains to serve current and future loads. All utilities to be extended to I-840, and completion of utilities will depend on the timing of the new bridge at Jefferson Pike. As I said, one of the bridges now has been completed with concrete work, but there's another bridge that will be, when the traffic's moved over to that bridge, the old bridge will be torn down, the new bridge will be erected, and we will be attaching our utilities through that bridge process. Gas is approximately 50% completed, and both water and sewer are about 30%. Olive Branch Sewer, this is a 5-mile extension that the town has been working on for some time. It's a combination of 12-inch all the way up to 24-inch pipe. And we'll have, it'll be installed to serve a high growth area. It's run on that west side of the interstate. It does have a green component because one of the things we're able to do with this new Olive Branch sewer is we'll be able to take, I think it's 2 of our lift stations will actually be removed, which anytime we can remove a lift station, that's good for us because we take the mechanical component out of that sewer line and we're allowed the gravity flow. This project is scheduled to be completed actually next month, November 2022. It's Some other water and sewer updates, as many of you know, the town of Smyrna has the downtown areas a bit older and we have a lot of new growth on the outskirts. And we don't want to just invest all the money in the new growth. We have to maintain and keep up with what's downtown and some of the older areas. So right now, there's a water model project at Sam Ridley and Weekly Lane. That upgrade consists of upgrading the water line from Jefferson Pike past G Street and to remove restriction in that line, increasing volume and fire flow for those communities, providing the project is will take approximately a year to be completed. It has 3,000 feet of 24-inch on Sam Ridley and 3,100 feet of 12-inch on Weekly Lane. The project is being funded by an SRF loan that the town has achieved, and the project is under review right now for the start. Hopefully, we'll be starting that project in February 2023, and then it'll take about a year to complete. On the I sewer rehab project, that project consists of rehabbing sewer mains, manholes, and service components. This will take place in the area of Morton, Hicks, Belfield, and Front Street, and Highland, and consists of approximately 4,800 feet of rehab by a mix of pipe bursting, open cut, and pipeline. 23 manholes will be replaced and installation of 6 new manholes. The project will take approximately 6 months to complete. The project again is funded by SRF. The project is currently under review to start, and we believe construction will begin this year in the winter of 2022. It will take about 6 months to complete that project. So those are some of the older areas of town that will be getting some new life.
Talking a little bit about our engineering department and our Lee Victory Recreation Park entrance. This is right here on the roundabout when you came in this morning off of Nolan Drive. It'll take you into the back part of Lee Victory Park, which will be a great addition for us for large events when we're having 4th of July or any of the events that we're having, to have a second in and out. It started in June of 21, and we are scheduled to be completed by the end of 2022. This project's run into a few obstacles, we'll say, but we'll be happy to get this one completed. Our Lowry Street Phase 1, Brian, you talked a little bit about frustration with a project. I think anytime the roads are torn up, it is frustrating. We kind of went through that with Sam Ridley Parkway, but I think we're all really happy with it now that it's done. And I always tell people, be patient, be patient, be patient. And I think sometimes I need to tell myself that as I drive down Lowry Street. We have all the underground utilities were completed in May. The curb, drives, planters, and sidewalk construction has begun, as you can see. A majority of the sidewalks and drives are scheduled to be completed by Thanksgiving. The landscape, median island pavement, and pavement markings are scheduled to be completed by May of 2023. I want you all to know we are pushing this project as hard as we can. Brian talked a little bit about the hiccups that we've had along the way. When it is not a Town of Smyrna project, but a TDOT project, it is somewhat out of our hands, but we want you all to know they want the project done as quickly as possible as well. Our Jeannie Lane extension, Jeannie Lane currently goes from, it will go from Motlow all the way to Old Nashville Highway once the new developments are done. And it's currently right now in place from Old Nashville Highway to Cedar Grove Road. The new Jeannie Lane will go from Cedar Grove to Potomac. And the Cleary Construction has been awarded this contract, and the construction is expected to begin late fall of 2022, which means when we're finished, you'll be able to drive all the way from Motlow to Potomac, which will get you from Motlow all the way over if you want to go shop at Target or anywhere over in there, without ever having to get out on Sam Ridley. Our Sam Ridley at Old Nashville Highway, a lot of people wondered, why is that intersection, why was it not done with the Sam Ridley project? Well, it's an entirely separate project and had to be bid that way. And the project's currently in the utilities right-of-way certification phase. The request for construction funding is scheduled for spring of '23. What will that look like when it's complete? If you're on Old Nashville Highway, either coming from Laverne or coming from Smyrna, you're going to have 2 straight lanes, 2 left turns, and 1 right turn. The sweeping right turns will go away. And if you're on Sam Ridley, you're going to have 2 left turns going towards Laverne or towards Smyrna. So I think that will really improve the efficiency at that intersection. Our Spring Hill Drive extension, this is a second entrance to Rocky Fork Middle School. The construction contract's been awarded to Cleary Construction, is expected to begin by late fall. Brian? An area that I hope you never have to be a part of, other than through administration, is probation. So you'll talk a little bit about probation.
We have anything alike. I hope it's something that, you know, probation is somewhat a new department for us. This was a department we brought in-house through our court system about a year and a half, 2 years ago now. And it's been very, very well received, and it's something that's working very well, not only for the town, but also for those people that are having to function through the probation office. Our probation department served 483 clients in 21, and restitution collected for victims was almost $29,000. And that's something we're very proud of, and it's helping not only the victims, but it's also helping those folks that need that assistance. Also, we'll talk about our judicial office, our court clerk's office. As you know, we have a new judge. Congratulations to Brittany Stevens, our new judge, and also to Lisa Brewer. Yes, I'm sorry, Lisa Brewer, our new town clerk, actually court clerk. I'm sorry. We've been implementing some new software also there, and that's helped the citizens. Unfortunately, if the citizen gets a speeding ticket or something like that as they go through the town, or fines or fees, they don't have to come in now and pay, so they can actually do that online, and that's helped not only with collections, but it's also helped with the traffic through the offices. They launched an online database to provide ease of access to court publics, the court's public records. That's something we're very proud of. Again, some of our DAs and some of those lawyers representing some of the clients now have a portal where they can go in and get information without having to come in and stand in line and wait for documents. Mayor, talk about your favorite subject, golf, right?
Hal knows this is my absolute favorite sport, is golf. So the Smyrna Golf Course prides itself on maintaining excellence on the greens with quality equipment. And our cart repair was completed on all 27 holes, and a new fleet of 80 golf carts were received in June of 2022. And our golf course celebrated 22 years as host of the First Tee program. And for those of you that don't know about the First Tee program, the First Tee builds strength of character that empowers the kids throughout their life. It integrates golf with a life skill curriculum to build inner strength, self-confidence, and resilience. And we're so proud that we're able to offer this First Tee program. They also hosted the Tennessee Special Olympic State Championship for the 23rd year. Brian, a little bit.
That's correct. Our business center has been one of those probably hardest hit by the pandemic because of the food service and those kind of things. There was a lot of protocols we had to deal with, a lot of things we dealt with our employees to keep them whole and try to make things work. But I'm happy to report to you so far in 2022, we've served 18,437 buffet meals. We've hosted 172 special events, and we're really just now going into our special event time around the holidays. The staff implemented COVID-19 protocols in order to open the buffet and dining room back up safely, and the event center provides gloves, masks, and to-go boxes to customers, in addition to enhanced sanitation procedures. And we're getting more, I will say, back to normal operations here. And I'm happy to announce that we have a new general manager. Nate is our new manager, so if you've not had a chance to come by and meet, I would ask you to do so. He's a great guy doing some really neat things along the lines of serving our community.
Well, let's take this opportunity to get a little plug in for those people that may not realize that the buffet is open to the public Tuesday through Friday. And from 11 to 1, you can come out and get a great meal multiple options on meat, vegetables, and desserts. So if you've not been to the event center to have lunch, we highly recommend it, especially on Fridays. LT, they have some of the best catfish around. But we also encourage you, if you have an event that you would like to hold for your business or for your family, come give us a look to see if this is somewhere we might be able to host the event for you. Let's talk a little bit about administration. In June of 22, the town of Smyrna and Google Fiber signed an agreement to bring high-speed broadband internet service to Smyrna. We were the first in the state outside of Nashville. Something we're really proud of. And construction is anticipated to begin late 22 with broadband service available in 23. In December of 21, when our former town clerk treasurer, Diane Waldron, retired, we were sad to see her go, but happy for her to enjoy retirement. After 40 years, Brian and the management team decided to split that position. And Jennifer Davis was promoted to Treasury Manager, supervising the Treasury Department, and Amber Hobbs was promoted to from our legal department to our town clerk, and this position now reports to the town manager through the administration department.
I have one other thing I'd like to add. Our legal department, Jeff Peach, our town attorney, who's here today, his department has been very involved. We talked about several projects this year through this whole presentation. Our legal department has been very active in making sure we have right of ways, making sure that we, whether it was a water line on Lowry Street to, some things going on Jefferson Pike, making sure. I just want to say thank you to our legal department, Jeff, and his crew. They do a great job of keeping this town headed in the right direction. So thank you, Jeff.
I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that are on our team for what you do day in and day out. But I also want to take this opportunity to thank our citizens, in trusting us in leadership and trusting us to do the right things for you to make Smyrna a better place to live, work, and play. We do that. We think about that every day. And we appreciate you allowing us to serve you as citizens of the town of Smyrna.
I would echo that. As I work and have the pleasure of working with our department heads and all of our employees on a daily basis, I can tell you nothing is more important than the quality of life that we provide to our community. And that's the way we look at our jobs. Everything we do is to serve the community. And I know sometimes, like I said, on projects, it can get frustrating and those kind of things. But I promise you, everything we do is to make Smyrna a better place so we can all live, play, and work in some place we're proud to be a part of. So thank you to our employees. Thank you for the citizens of the community and the support that we get from this council and our mayor. Thank you so much.
We've had a great 2022, and we look forward to a wonderful 2023. So thank you all.